Goeiemorgen, good morning, Sawubona. All the good people of this wonderful, beautiful country of South Africa with its wonderfully bad leaders. So, I don't know if you guys remember, I'm sure you will, it wasn't long ago, it was the beginning of the week, when I said that the ruling party and its affiliates need not fear the USA or Israel, but in fact should be fearing the rising up of the population of South Africa. Do you guys perhaps remember me saying that? Well, lo and behold, yesterday, a group of ANC t-shirt clad campaigners attempted to enter Queenstown to campaign for the local municipal elections and were summarily attacked, pelted with stones, and driven out of Queenstown and not permitted to enter, which is very significant because Queenstown is in the Eastern Cape. And the Eastern Cape is historically the birthplace of the ANC and one of their strongholds. So that is, as much as it may seem like a very small thing, a major development, because that is going to catch fire throughout the Eastern Cape. And if it catches fire throughout the Eastern Cape, the stronghold is going to catch fire nationally. So watch that. Now, for the main topic. So we had this country in the Middle East called Iran. We still have it. It's just busy changing leadership as we speak. Perhaps not as voluntarily as they would have liked to have, but nonetheless, it's busy happening, right? But we had this country in the Middle East, Iran, run by psychopaths, absolute psychopaths, religious madmen. We all have our religions, we all have our faith. We all believe what we believe, or we choose not to believe anything. That's our intrinsic right, right? And I don't think anyone of any moderate thinking has any problem with that whatsoever. But then you have, across all religions, you know, we've had in Christianity these guys like David Koresh and others that completely lose the plot. And, you know, these mullahs in Iran are no different, you know, complete psychopaths, religious zealots wanting to enforce a religious ideology upon people who perhaps Iran was historically a Christian country. And they were going great, bro. Going great. Since 1979, they were selling oil, they were building their missiles, they were chucking a couple of them at Israel every now and then. They were sending terrorists all over the world, you know, training their little suicide bombers, you know, to go and blow things up, you know. America under Biden and Obama was throwing billions and billions of dollars at them. And life was just groovy, man. They were sitting in their palaces. Their kids were living large in the United States and in the French Riviera and all these places, just going lacquer. And, you know, they had friends like Turkey and others, you know, in the region, Yemen and so on. I don't know, perhaps Syria, I'm not sure. But they had a couple of mates there and, you know, they felt they had the support of the greater Islamic mindset, which is the Middle East. And life was great. Life was great. The money was rolling in. The caliphate was busy expanding. Groovy. All good. No problem. But then they made a vital mistake. They started doing business with the ANC. Through its then chairman of MTN, Captain Fantastic, Cyril the Squirrel, got in on the action. And since the ANC have been involved in Iran, which is what we know as the public, probably longer, but let's say 20 years ago, call it 2006 to now, on almost the exact same timeline as what they've done to South Africa. Look what's happened to Iran since the ANC got involved in Iran. It's gone. Don't you find this a remarkable coincidence? Hey? You know, I said it earlier in the week, right? That it doesn't matter where these oaks go, bro. It doesn't matter what they put their hands to. It doesn't matter where they stick their noses in. Listen here, if you want guaranteed failure, guaranteed, if you're looking for a way out, get involved in some kind of deal with the ANC. You are gonna burn. Clearly, from what I can see. It doesn't matter where these oaks go. Check poor old Maduro. He was having a jaw. He was making coke and selling oil and flipping, subjugating his country and, you know, living in a palace and speedboats and hookers and coke and a jaw. And the ANC got involved. Where's Maduro now, the poor oak? Huh? Sitting in a flipping prison cell somewhere in America. Huh? Why? Because he got involved with these guys. And we have to start looking back, you know, looking at this from a perspective of, but why is this? Why is it that wherever these guys go, chaos, chaos. You can't even be a successful dictator if you've pulled the ANC into your dictatorship. You know? I saw this morning, you know, Byron Shaw from the Morning Shot. You guys are going to make a point of watching him. Sometimes, you know, he can go on a little bit like me. But generally speaking, you know, he has got such an articulate way of exposing the stupidity and the retardation, as he calls it. He says we're living in retardanistan. And this morning was especially good as he pointed out various facts that are available to all of us when it, you know, concerns what these guys and how these guys are thinking, which is they're absolutely not thinking at all. You know, if you look at our issues here in South Africa, right? We desperately need foreign investment. We desperately need experts to come and sort out our infrastructure. We desperately need money in order that we can use that money to rebuild the infrastructure that has been destroyed, right? So, as a thinking human being, what you would want to do is you would want to create an environment that would best support income of money over your own political ideology or religious ideology. You know, this is what a vast portion of the Middle East have done, like Saudi and Qatar and these guys, right? They have their religious ideology and they live and they run their countries according to Islamic law, which is their prerogative. The whole country, everyone in that country follows that system. But they don't exclude the world in favor of their Islamic ideology. they pull the world in and they build, mega structures. These skyscrapers they've built in Dubai and Riyadh and Qatar and these places. The engineering prowess and the intellectual property that had to go into the architecture and all of that all comes out of Western universities and Western thinking, because it was Western civilization, along with places like Egypt, you know what I mean, that built the first multi-story buildings. And, that engineering has flowed through the ages and has been improved on and so on and so forth, to the point where, you saw these buildings that they've built in New York City and LA and London and that, you need that intellectual strength to be able to develop your own country. And so these Middle Eastern countries made their countries West friendly, even though they kept them at a distance in terms of importing Western culture. They still imported Western knowledge, if I can say that. And they did business with the West. They sold oil, they did this, they did that, and the things. And they also, at the same time as keeping them at a distance, they also pulled them in as allies in case of any issues in the Middle East, right? So, in order to benefit their countries and benefit their people, you know what I mean? So if you go to Saudi and Dubai, I've never been there, but I know people that have been there, and they've informed me, particularly contractors that have worked there as, when I say contractors, not military contractors, security personnel, guys that have gone over there as builders and all of that stuff, right? Alcohol, all these things that they don't allow there, you just got to learn how to live with it, because that's the law of the country. But not one of those guys that I know that have come back from those places have ever felt like they were discriminated against because of their skin color or because of their religion or because of the country that they came from. No. They all say the same thing. They were made to feel welcome. They were given good accommodation. They were fed well. They were treated well. Because those Saudi kings and princes, those guys from the Middle East are smart. They're smart. And they have the interests of their people at heart, right? Now we come to South Africa, okay? And we're struggling there. We all know we're struggling. And you look at this Iranian conflict, right? And you can, you have to sit back and go, but why are you Cyril Ramaphosa? You must watch the one of Ronaldo Gous on Cole Niehaus' statement. What is wrong with that guy? Why are you so committed to destroying all of us? If you hate the white guy because of apartheid, I can understand that. I can understand why you would have developed that mindset. I can understand why you feel an urge to somehow, without creating any kind of real blowback, create conditions that are uncomfortable and do not benefit the white guy because of the past. That is understandable. It's not, I don't condone it obviously as a white guy because, it affects me. But what I don't understand is why you're doing it to the black, the colored, and the Indian guys. Why are you doing this to them? It's very simple in terms of the white-black demographic. If you really wanted to go balls to the wall on this issue, to do what Idi Amin did, to do what the MPLA did in Mozambique and Angola and these other places, Robert Mugabe, what, provide the military aircraft, tell us we can take what we can take on us within 24 hours, we must report to Waterkloof, and fly us out the country. That I understand. Wouldn't be lekker, but I get it. If you really hate the white guy that much because of the past, it's understandable. Right? But You are killing the black man economically. You are feeding the colored man drugs and gangs and death in the Cape. The black people in the Eastern Cape are poor at levels that you only see in countries like Sudan and Somalia, Tanzania. And yet you are retaining this trajectory that is chasing away the opportunities that would be available if you just stepped out of the ideology and stepped into the mindset of help the people. All of us, of course, but predominantly the very people that you used to put you into power, the black people of South Africa. You watch them suffering, but you retain alliances that are going to not only continue their suffering, but make it worse and worse and worse. It is illogical. It is stupid. And it's evil and barbaric. Since you've been in power, the Western nations of this world have empowered you through financial benefits, medical benefits, trade benefits, economic benefits, in order to assist you to uplift the previously disadvantaged people of this country. And what you chose to do was enrich a very small percentage of your friends through various means, while trying to crush the opportunities of the white guy in this country through economic laws. And it's failed. And as you've continued to do this, the West has taken note and has started squashing the inflow of money to this country. And as the West has done that, you have, as I said in my video earlier in the week, you have dishonestly been supporting the enemies of the people that have been trying to uplift you and help you. How many Iranian companies currently function in South Africa? How many? How many Iranian supermarkets, fast food outlets, motor manufacturers, steel industries, financial entities, IT companies, social media companies? How many Iranian companies currently push money into South Africa at the level of, let me give you a few: Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, McDonald's, KFC, General Motors, Ford, and Walmart now, Massmart, Macro, Game, Leroy Merlin. These are all Western companies that provide jobs to your people. And you're doing your best to estrange the nations that supply from whence these companies come in favor of regimes that provide nothing for South Africans. Nothing. Zero. We've got one or two Chinese businesses here. They're pumping our market full of Chinese cars because they're cheap and people can't afford the cars that they used to be able to afford, because you've crushed the economy. You've killed the economy. Our mining conglomerates have moved offshore. They're seeking more fertile grounds. to expand their mining goals. Your replacement for those conglomerates is Zama Zamas. Why are you doing this to them? I'm not even going to say us. I'm going to talk to my black brothers and my colored brothers and sisters and Indian brothers and sisters. Why? Like I said, I can understand why you'd want to do that to me and people like me. But why are you doing it to them? What did they do to you? Why are you doing your best to destroy this country at their expense, when they're the very people that gave their lives so that you can have Armani suits and Gucci shoes and live in palaces and go shower in hotels? When are you going to take a good long look in the mirror? Cyril Ramaphosa, Jacob Zuma, Julius Malema, and I'm even going to include Herman Mashaba, and come to the understanding, Gayton McKenzie, and conclusion that what you are doing is evil and wrong. And that what you should be doing is forming alliances with countries. Whether you agree with them or whether you do not agree with them is irrelevant. The point is to form the alliances that are required to build South Africa. When are you going to put the people before yourself? And that is my question today. And to the rest of the world, if you want your country to go the same way as Iran and Venezuela, and I'm speaking primarily to the Chinese, there is a curse on this ANC. I'm telling you, there is a spiritual curse on this organization. And there is a spiritual curse on this government. And if you invite them into your nation and you continue to operate with them, as did many of the Israelite tribes try to do business with cursed nations and were crushed until they repented and honored the one and only true living God. There's a spiritual curse on this organization. And then on a last note, and I'm going to close with this. To my Muslim brothers and sisters in South Africa that are supporting Iran, you need to provide me with an answer. The entire Muslim world in the Middle East, the only one left now is Yemen. The rest have all aligned with Israel and the United States, including Azerbaijan. Lebanon has given Hezbollah days to demilitarize and leave the country under the threat of Lebanese action on Hezbollah. Hamas is a thing of the past. And the entire Muslim world in the Middle East is supporting the action against Iran. Why are you, my South African Muslim brothers and sisters, still supporting the regime in Iran? And this is a question you must ask yourself. When even your Islamic brothers and sisters, the birthplace of Islam, Saudi Arabia, where you find Mecca and Medina, where the Kaaba is, has taken action against this despotic, evil regime. But you are supporting it. I want to know why. Do you hate America so much that you are willing to apostatize your own religion and the birthplace of your religion in favor of a regime that was killing other Muslims. Have a blessed day, guys, and I'll see you probably Monday. Lekker. Cheers. Have a great weekend. Enjoy it. Enjoy your family. Go and enjoy your God. Go to church. Have a great one. Be safe. It's raining. The roads are hectic. Cheers, man.